All right. In the summer, I have told you that what does a equal sign do in Python language? Do you remember that? It does the assignments. It assigns a value into a variable. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, if you have a is equal to 5, what does it do? It will assign this value of 5 to the variable a. And the value of a will become 5. Is it okay with you? Who is changed? What is changed? A is changed. The value of a is changed. The one that is changed will be placed on the left-hand side of the equal sign. Do you remember that? Okay? And the value that you would like to assign to the variable on the left will be placed on the right side of the equal sign. Okay? Any question about this? Okay, thank you. So this is a very, very, very brief review of what we have taught about assignments in the summer. All right? Any question at all? Anybody listening at all? Yes. Okay, good. So when I hit enter, then the value of a becomes 5. This is what it does, all right? However, I'm showing you a very weird way of assigning values to variables. Like what? Look at this. Hold on to this. Not yet. Can I do this? Can I assign two values into one single variable? No. Can we do that? No. Well, basically, no. Theoretically, no. But in fact, this is okay with Python. Look at this. When I hit enter, it doesn't complain about it. And when you check the value of a, you will see that these 3 and 5 are in a package. It is actually, before we assign two values into one variable, Python will pack these two values into a special structure. We call this a special structure a tuple. Or let me put it here. We call this a special structure a tuple. All right? We call it a tuple. What kind of the structure a tuple is? What kind of the structure is the tuple? It's actually very, very similar to list. You are already familiar with list, right? Okay? What is a list? A list is a structure that has a lot of the values inside, and usually syntactically we enclose these values in a pair of square brackets. Do you remember that? Like if we have S is equal to 3, 1, 4, 2. We enclose 4 values into a list which is surrounded by a pair of square brackets, and S is a list. This is a list. So in this case, can we assign a list to one variables? Can I? Did we do that before? Yes. You can assign a list to a variable. But in this case, before we can assign 2 values into one single variable A, these 2 values are actually packed, enclosed in a structure called a tuple. And what is a tuple? What is the difference between a tuple and a list? Actually, a tuple and a list are very, very similar. The only difference between a list and a tuple is this. A list is mutable, and a tuple is immutable. What does it mean to be mutable? Do you know what does it mean to mute something? Have you ever heard of a TV cartoon series called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Have you ever heard of that? What does it mean to be a mutant? Mutant. So to mute means to change. Do you know what I'm talking about? What does it mean to be mutable? It can be changed. What does it mean to be immutable? It cannot be changed. All right, here. Look carefully. We have a list of S, and there are 4 values in this list, which are 3, 1, 4, 2. Can I change one of these 4 numbers? Can I do that? For instance, can I change this 3 into 7? Can I do that? Can I use the subscript 0, S0 to change 3 into 7? Can I do that? The answer is yes. Now S is 7142. So each single item in a list is changeable. We call the list is mutable. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay? And what does it mean to be immutable? Apparently, you cannot change the single values inside a tuple like this. When A is a tuple, can I change this 3 into something like 8? Can I assign 8 to A0? When you hit enter, you will get an error message, something like this. Tuple object does not support item assignments. Do you know what it means now? Okay? So do you know what it means? When you say a tuple is immutable, do you know what it means now? Okay? Any question? Any question at all? No? If you don't have one, if you don't have any, I have one for you. if the only difference between a list and a tuple, why do we need a structure of tuple? Wherever we use a tuple, can we use a list instead? Do you know what I'm talking about? A list is mutable. A tuple is immutable. And that is the only difference between a list and a tuple. Okay? So why do we need two things that are so similar? And the only difference is one is mutable, the other one is immutable. And why do we need this extra structure in this language? Can we use a list instead of tuple wherever a tuple is used? Can we do that? Why not? Why not? If you, for instance, can we get the sum of A? What will you get if you get the sum of A? What is the sum of A? We can get the sum of A, which is 8, all right? Because there are two numbers, 3 and 5 in A. But can we do that in like something like B, which is a list of 3 and 5? Can we still get the sum of B? So can we do the same thing to B, which is a list? Yes, why not? We can still get the sum from B. Whatever you do to a tuple, you can do the same thing to a list. And why do we need a tuple? That's my question. Why do we need a tuple? We can always use a list instead of tuple. And why do we need a tuple in this language at all? Don't you think that's something redundant? Something redundant means it is not necessary. It is extra. It means you guys. Oh no, I'm sorry, no. Sorry, I'm kidding. Don't be upset. All right? Do you see my point? Do you see my point? Yes. But I don't know what. Whatever you do to a tuple, you can do the same thing to a list. So that means wherever you use a tuple, you can use a list instead. And why do we need a tuple at all? Well, what does it say in English? How do you say it in English? What is the influence of that difference? What is the influence of that? When something is immutable, that means it is actually hashable. When it is mutable, it means it is unhashable. And whenever you need to use something that is hashable, you cannot use a list in that place. But the problem is, what does it mean to be hashable? What does it mean to hash something? And the answer that I'm giving you is that it's not covered in this semester. I'm not going to teach you what does it mean to be hashable. What does it mean by hashing? It's not going to be taught this semester in this course. And if you are really interested, you are more than welcome to elect the course of advanced computer programming when you are in your senior year. Senior year, the last year of your high school years. You will be given a chance to elect this course. All right? And I will, at that time, I will tell you what does it mean to be hashable. All right? Chinese. Chinese. All right? Advanced computer programming. Okay? So for now, the only thing that you have to remember is a list is actually the same as a tuple. Just don't try to change a single value inside a tuple because it is immutable. That's the only thing you have to know. All right? Is it okay with you? Is that okay with you? Okay? Okay. All right. So, to sum up, you need to listen, you need to look carefully. When you assign multiple values into a single variable, these values will actually be packed into a structure called a tuple, which is enclosed in a pair of parentheses. Understand what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay? Just like a list. You can assign a tuple into a variable. That's okay. If you want to assign a list or a tuple to a variable, that will be okay. All right? And there's another thing that's amazing in Python language is that you can do the same thing on the left-hand side of the equal sign. You can do the same thing on the left-hand side of the equal sign. All right? Listen to this. Can I do this? Can I do this? Listen to me. All right? Okay, look carefully. Look carefully. Don't talk to your neighbor. All right. Look carefully. Can I do this? Like P Q is equal to like 5 and 9. Can I do that? No. The answer is yes. You can assign a list of values into a list of variables. That would be fine in Python. It's not like this in other languages, but it's okay in Python. It's actually okay in Python. So when you do this, what is the value of P? 5. There will be 5. What is the value of Q? 9. That's 9. Exactly. So you see how it works, right? Okay, look carefully. Can I do this? N is equal to A. Can I assign the value of one variable to two variables? Can I do that? No? No? You don't think so? That's a very, very good guess, but that is wrong. But that is a very good guess. All right, you can do that. You can assign the value of A to two variables. Why is that? Because A is a tuple. A is a tuple of two values. Do you know what I'm talking about here? So when you do this, you are actually doing something like this. N is equal to 3, 5. Exactly the same thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because A is the value. A is the value of 3 and 5. A tuple with two values, 3 and 5. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. And on the left-hand side, you have a tuple of two variables. And you will assign 3 to this M, and you will assign 5 to this N. They are exactly the same thing. So, now, after we have done this assignment, what is the value of M? Remember, A is 3 and 5. So what is the value of M? 3, exactly. 3, all right? And what is the value of N? 5, exactly. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Good? Okay? Okay. So you can actually assign multiple numbers into multiple variables in Python. And the Python will actually tag those values on the right-hand side and then assign it to the package, the list or a tuple on the left-hand side. And then you will assign the values sequentially, individually. All right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes. All right. Now, there's something very, very interesting. Look. If S is equal to map int input dot split. Does it mean that we are going to put a lot of the values into S, right? Do you remember this? And then now I'm going to put some values like 5, 7, 2, 9. Something like this. All right? Any question? So now S is a map object. And these objects will have the value of 5, 7, 2, and 9. Can we do this? Look carefully. Can we do this? A, B, C, and D is equal to S. Can we do that? How many values does S have inside? 4. Can we assign the 4 values of S into 4 variables on the left-hand side, which are A, B, C, and D? Can we do that? Can we do that? No. Yes. We don't have what? But this is okay with a map too, because there are 4 values in S in this map object. So you can also assign these 4 values into 4 variables, which are A, B, C, and D. So right now, What is the value of A? What is the value of A? Actually 5. What is the value of B? 7. What is the value of C? 2. And finally, what is the value of D? Exactly. Do you see how it works? Any question? No question. Okay. I'm going back to some practice that we had finished before. And what are those? Let me see. Okay, not this one. I'm talking about this one. What are the examples that I'm going to show you? No, not that one. This one. Do you remember this? No, not that one. Sally and McQueen sitting in a tree. Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby in a baby carriage. Do you remember this one? And this one is a one-line version, which means the two names are given in one single line. Do you remember this? And do you remember how we solved this? Yes. Let me see if we have the answer to this. Okay. This is the answer that we had before. This is the answer that we had before to solve this problem. All right? We have this S. And this S, this variable S, is taking the two strings given by the split function. All right? Okay? And then we have S0 for the first name and S1 for the second name, and put them in the positions, corresponding positions in the lyrics. This is our answer, right? However, in the earlier version of this problem, there's another version of kissing. In this version, Sally and McQueen, girl's name and boy's name, are given in two different lines, two separate lines. In this one, I don't know if you remember that, we have a different way of naming. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you see that? This one we have a G and B sitting in a tree. Which one are more readable? Which one looks better for you to read? The one on the left or on the one on the right? Right. So what does it mean? Why do I put the variable name of G here? Girl. Why do I put B as the name of the variable here? A boy, right? But do you see a girl and a boy here? No. Can we do do something like this in this version? Yes. Actually, you can do that. How? Look carefully. You can put a G right here and a B right here. Do you know what I'm talking about? That was what I was trying to explain to you. You can actually put two variables to take the two strings given by the split function. And in this case, you don't need a subscript at all. You don't need to use the subscript 0. You don't need to use the subscript 1. The only thing you need to use is the girl's name and the what? Boy's name. Does this one look better to you now? Exactly, right? Okay, let's go to another example that we have done before. Which one that we are talking about? I'm talking about the one here with the Heron formula. Do you remember that? Heron formula? Heron? Where's Heron? Where's Heron? Here. Do you remember this one? I'm giving you the three sides of a triangle. You need to give me the square of the area of that triangle. Do you remember this problem? Yeah. So how many values are given in this practice? How many values? 3. But what is the answer that we had before? No, not this one. I'm going to use another one. This is the one that I'm trying to teach right now. This is the one that I'm trying to teach right now, but I'm trying to give. But that's not the answer that I gave you before. What is the answer that I gave you? Let me see, we are 120. Let's see, what was the answer that I had? Not for this class. What about this class? No, not right here. So where do I put it? It's okay, I will create a new one then. Okay, the answer that I gave you before was actually this. We convert that into a list and then save that into one single variables. Maybe I forgot. Let me see. I forgot what that is. I forgot what's the Oh, this one here. This is the answer that I gave you before. Do you remember that? But again, we have this S0, S1, S2, all those annoying subscripts. But how does it look for this formula right there? If we Google that Heron's formula, this is actually what you will see. You have S times S minus A, S minus B, S minus C, instead of this minus S0, minus S1, minus S2. This is ugly, right? Okay? So we change it to something like this. We change it to something like this. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Can we assign the 3 value that is given to 3 variables which are A, B, C. Can we do that? Yes, we can do that, okay? And now, does this formula look more friendly to you? It's more similar to the Heron's formula that's given in math. Do you remember? Do you see that? This is more. This look more like it, more like the formula that you are getting in the math from the math formula. Is that okay? Do you understand? Any question? All right, if you don't have any question, there are 3 practices that you can do right now. Actually, we have 3 for you to do before we can have the break, okay? Let me show you. The first one is the really easy one. I will give you 2 numbers, and then you need to give me the sum of it. Yeah, it is really easy. Okay? How do you solve this one? Can we do something like this? Like A and B is equal to map and input dot split. And then we simply print out A plus B. And that will be the answer. Right? Easy, right? Okay. So what about the next one? The next one is this. Okay, I'm a potato couch and I love to switch the channel, but it is very, very, how do you say that? Very, very annoying that all the keys on the remotes are broken, every single one of them, except for next channel. There are only 1 button that is working on this remote. All right. Now, my TV's got 100 channel, and the numbers of the channel are 0 to 99. You will be given the channel that I'm watching right now and the channel that I would like to switch to. And please tell me, how many times do I have to push next channel button? If I'm watching channel 5 and I want to switch to channel 10, how many times do I have to push? 5 times. How do you get the answer of 5? You count it with your fingers? Can we do it in the math? Yeah, exactly. We have this 10 minus this 5. All right? And then you'll get the results of 5. Any question? However, if I'm watching channel 10 and I would like to switch to channel 5, I have to push the button to switch from 10 to 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way to 99. And then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll get to the channel 5, right? So how many buttons, how many times do we have to push the button? 95. How do you get this number? What if you use this number to subtract? Use 5 to minus 10. You will get actually negative 5, right? So what do? You plus 100, right? But if you add 100 to the results, this 5 will become 105. So what do? Do you want to add 100 at all? If you add it, this will be 105. If you don't add it, then this will be negative 5. So what do? What do? Let me show you. Let me show you the answer, all right? So, what is the answer of, how do I put it? All right, this way. If A and B are 5 and 10, and you simply pronounce B minus A, that will give you 5, right? Any question? But if you have A and B as 10 and 5, what will it get you?
95.
It will get you negative 5. So what do? Plus 100? But if you plus 100, it will ruin this answer. If this answer plus 100 will be 105. So what do? Let me tell you the answer. You print, look carefully right there, A minus B, then divided by 100 and get the remainder of that. This is the answer. That will get you the number 5. Okay? And this formula will also work with the value of 5 and 10. Because what is the remainder of 5 divided by 100? 5. What is the answer to it? Still 5, right? It is still 5. It's not affected. But if it is negative 5, then no, I got this one wrong right there. I'm sorry. Okay, look carefully. So this is negative 5. Okay, this is negative 5. And it will get you 95. So this is the answer to it. This is the answer to the problem, all right? But before you give this answer, you need to get the value from the inputs for A and B. And how do you do that? I showed you before. I'm not going to type it for you again, all right? Any question? Do you know how to do this one now? Okay, because I already gave you the answer like this, all right? So what about the next one? The next one is this one. You have this M and D, okay? This fortune teller trying to tell the fortune for people. And the way he doing his fortune telling is very easy. He will ask for his customers' birth month and the birthday, all right? And then it will get the value of S with this formula of M times 2 plus D and divided by 3, get the remainder. Any question? And there will be three possible answers from 0 to 2. three possible numbers. If the result is 0, it will tell you it's ordinary. And if it's 1, it will say good. If it's 2, it will say very good. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you understand this problem right here? Okay, so what's the answer about this one? Let me give you the answer. Okay, again, for this time, can we assign the value that is given into M and D like this here? Can we do this? Yes. And then we will get the value of S by applying M and D into this formula. Then how do we get the results of that? I would like to build a list first. And the three values of this list are ordinary, I'm sorry. Okay, here's a list. And then I will simply print out R S. If you have the results of S as 0, then RS means R0, right? And what is R0? It's ordinary, right? If you have the value of S as 1, then RS will be R1, which is good. If you have the value of S as 2, then RS will be R2, which is very good. Do you know what I'm talking about here? And this is the answer to the third problem. Is that okay with you? Okay, if you don't have any questions, I will leave the time for you to finish these 3 problems, all right? Okay? Let's have a break for 10 minutes.